welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy at the request of Patreon subscriber John, who asked me to play something spiky and serious, and I took that opportunity to play the new Metamorphosis Fanatic builds of Blue-Black Reanimator. Dimir Reanimator, obviously, best deck in the format, was before Metamorphosis Fanatic. The grief ban changed kind of the texture of how fast this deck could go off and changed kind of their middle ground, but the deck did not really change at all because Psychic Frog is still nutso. Archon of Cruelty remains one of the strongest things you could do in the format in a game-win situation, and backed up by Force of Will and Psychic Frog as a game plan, the whole troll mana base with the easy reanimate target. This is all completely intact, and it got a new printing that is pretty exciting. Metamorphosis Fanatic, 4 BB, 4/4 lifelink. When this enters, return up to one target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a lifelink counter on it, and it has Miracle for 1 and a black. We talked about this card during spoiler season on the Eternal Glory podcast, and as a group, we were kind of medium on it. Just looking at the ceiling and floor of a new card is how we think about that. The ceiling on this is, of course, for 2 mana, you bring back like 5 creatures and win the game easily. The floor is you have a Triumph of St. Catherine in different colors, but it's also smaller and doesn't protect itself. And Triumph of St. Catherine is not a card seen a lot of play these days, so the floor is not very good here. But the ceiling is pretty bonkers. And then the median is pretty reasonable. Like, even if you just cycle a troll to get your mana set up, and then somewhere in the game draw one of these, and oops, now I have this and troll, or at least oops, now there's a must counter on the stack, or a must graveyard hate. Countering it is the best, because with graveyard hate, I still get a 4/4. Takes 2 removal spells to break this up. And then in the juke environment, where opponents bring in a bunch of graveyard hate, and you start to move away from Reanimator stuff, a card like Animate Dead only has one mode, which is doing what it says on the card Animate Dead. If your opponent has a Leyline of the Void or a Rest in Peace or just Unlicensed Hearse in play, this card is not going to do anything. Metamorphosis Fanatic, 2 mana 4/4 lifelink to support the Barrogoyf and the Psychic Frog in the squad. Even if it doesn't bring anything back, it's still just a body on the board your opponent has to deal with. This card is showing up between 0 and 4 copies in different builds. I've seen builds hyper dedicated to it, doing stuff like Portent and Street Wraith to set it up and then flip it on the opponent's turn where it gets back the Street Wraith that was used to miracle it. That was really cool. But I don't think you have to do all that. And a very cool thing about Metamorphosis Fanatic is that it just says when it enters. It doesn't say when you cast it or when it enters from your hand or anything like that, which means if your opponent's not exiling them, the second one gets back the first one, and then the first one gets back another creature. The third one gets back the second one, which gets back the first one, which gets back another creature. And the chain just goes crazy. Swords to Plowshares and Graveyard Hate are really the ways that you can break that up. Terminus breaks that up. Supreme Verdict does not break that up. It kills all the creatures, but then the next Fanatic brings them all back. If you actually have to trade with this thing, like block it with a Psychic Frog, discard some cards to make your frog big enough, and then your opponent just flips it back into play on the next turn, that's pretty horrendous for you. Any kind of fair interaction, like even Unholy Heating this, is a half measure. It'll be back eventually. There's a lot going on here, and it's a different card. It's a new card. There's never been anything quite like this before. Like Animate Dead, obviously playable in the format. Triumph of St. Catherine, not quite playable in the format. What if they were on the same card? And it is passing the bar, and we're all trying to figure out the best shells and the best numbers for this thing right now. I'm excited to try it. This is my first outing with it. Let's get in. This is Dimir Reanimator with Metamorphosis Fanatic. This video is partnered with Buffalo Chicken Dip Legacy, one of the hardest working grassroots tournament organizers in the Legacy community. Compete in their events for your chance to win dual lands and other Legacy staples, and get your name in one of the coveted slots on the BCDL trophy. check out their upcoming events October 12th in Columbus, Ohio, and October 19th in Houston, Texas. Information is available in the links in the video description. Make your plans to attend today. On the draw in round number 1, this is still a 16 land deck, and while I would keep this hand, if any of these cards, other than Troll, if any of the other cards at random was a Wasteland even, I would keep, but got a mulligan the actual no-lander. Here we go. I'll keep this and bottom a Scalding Tarn. And having Metamorphosis in the deck, okay, we're playing against Cradle Control. No other deck plays Lair of the Hydra, unless this is just some weird brew. But with Metamorphosis Fanatic in the deck, you generally want to entomb anytime you could Miracle the Fanatic. Like without Fanatic in the deck, you might want to save Entomb for when you have the Reanimate, and here I am flipping one right away. But with Brainstorm in my hand, this is something that I can set up. All right, Animate Dead being on top of my deck, kind of sweet. I don't think I want to daze this opponent. My plan is to Thoughtseize them next turn and then Entomb on the same turn and then Reanimate on the turn after that. I'm going to set a stop in my draw step so they don't know when I draw Fanatic. The old Miracle Bluff. Attacking with Dryad Arbor kind of rules. That's way better than them playing multiple spells this turn. Reclaimer. Okay, that makes all of this worse. I'm still going to Thoughtseize them. Or maybe I Brainstorm now, looking for Fatal Push. Yeah, I'm going to Brainstorm, actually. Just with this Reclaimer face up, I can't just send it into the graveyard like I wanted to. If Fanatic goes back in the deck, Underground Sea goes back in the deck. Fetch. Thoughtseize you. Safekeeper and Endurance. I will take the Endurance. The Safekeeper can protect the Reclaimer, but if I'm frogging, that doesn't matter. There's Safekeeper. One card left over there. Fanatic. All right, let's try it. Let's see how the 4/4 lifelink mode on this stacks up. This is a good test because there's nothing in my graveyard to get back. A 4/4 lifelink is the biggest thing on this board. Nothing to bring back. We're basically testing the game 2 words on this card in game 1. And off we go. They'll probably spin up Cradle here. Okay, they're just going for some card selection. I guess without any cards to cast, Cradle doesn't matter. I kept that on top. Scary. I can daze a Natural Order. Not anymore, I can't. It's a quick fetch. Zenith for 3. Okay, they started to tap Dryad Arbor and then changed their mind. They got Grist. Okay, this actually is great because this taps them out of Reclaimer and now I can Entomb Animate Dead. Cool. Bad news, opponent. They get to attack for 4. I Entomb in the end step, get Archon. This is why this deck is so annoying. And that was a really good example of just 4/4 lifelink being enough to mess the game up for my opponent. Archon of Cruelty in the bin. Animate the Fanatic, which will bring back the Archon. Here's that non-exile removal going nuts. And the Archon comes back with lifelink. Yeah, that's pretty messed up. Just a little extra sauce on the meatball. And I just drew a Troll of Khazad-dûm as well. I'll get my Undercity Sewers and Surveil while we're here. Another Entomb, I don't need that. Okay. Pretty good position, I dare say. Made a bug. I could still daze a Natural Order. They are losing Grist this turn, because I have a flyer that can attack it. Force of Will, just continue pummeling my opponent with things. Right, something's happening with Reclaimer right now. What tech have they adopted that could solve this problem? Oh, Talon Gates, okay. That does phase out my Archon. And attacking doesn't really do anything because they could just touch butts with the Reclaimer. And then I don't have a blocker up. Okay. Talon Gates is cool. Here's Psychic Frog to continue. Just the misery of playing against this deck. Oh wow, yeah, this faces back in my upkeep, so they can't even kill this with Grist. That's not even the important creature. That rules. Ignoble Hierarch. That is a Gristable, but the bug is already pretty Gristable. Okay, the Grist is being deleted. Taking out Frog. A lot of respect for that one here. And now it's their lands package versus my 6/6 lifelink. Traxa, not really what I want. Does pitch to force, though. Alright, what do we got here? Is there another Talon Gates in the deck? Have they adopted the Echoing Deep to copy Talon Gates? There is actually another Talon Gates. Sick. All right. Let's play that whole turn over again, but now you don't have Grist. And there are still two Metamorphosis Fanatics in the deck. I think I'm going to force this pitching Atraxa. I just don't want this card in the mix here. And I still have 2 dazes for a potential Natural Order or Big Zenith off the top. Okay, they've run out of Talon Gates. That was sweet. Okay, Fatal Push comes in. There's not a lot I need to do here. I could go into Barrogoyf. They play a lot of Endurances. I could semi-juke. Like, I want Archon. I could, like, get rid of Atraxa and Animate Dead, just get off it a little bit. Bring in some extra removal. I still want to combo them, though. We could do something like Harbinger, Barrogoyf, cut 2 Entombs, both Animate Deads. I guess with Metamorphosis Fanatic, we just don't need Animate Dead post-board anymore. It does become a lot harder to just dumpster them. I don't think I want a Barrogoyf. I kind of like dumpstering them. I'm not going to bring in these Harbingers. Just +2 Fatal Push, buy myself some time, get in there. They do have the powerful advantage over me right now that when I search MTG Goldfish, Cradle Control isn't even on the front page where I can look at what they might be sideboarding against me. Yeah, I think I'm mostly set up here. Oh, Daze is pretty bad, though. Are there cards I would rather have in than Daze? The Harbinger, I could get an Animate Dead back. I don't think I want Atraxa. Consign can counter an Atraxa trigger or a Bajuka Bog trigger, that kind of thing. All right, I'll leave 1 Daze in. Okay, keep. I wish this Archon was not in my hand. Could be the old Thoughtseize myself play. Yeah, the Atraxa is the one card I just left out after thinking about it. Hey, they once upon a time into a Noble Hierarch and went with Thoughtseize. Okay, have a look. Probably my Thoughtseize is the card you want. I think it's Thoughtseize or Animate Dead are the cards that they would be seriously considering here. I'm going to move them around so they can't find them. Maybe they'll misclick. Oh, they hit the moving target. That's not a real thing. It wasn't moving for them, just for me. But I have to entertain myself while my plans crumble. I am going to Thoughtseize them. I drew a blue card for Force, though that is a blue card that I would like to cast next turn, if I can find the land to go with it. Tell me your thoughts. Your thoughts are Endurance and Noble Hierarch. Well, I think it's just Endurance, and it's not that hard. They played Basic Forest. Okay. I am going to force this because it's the only thing they have going on, and it's a powerful thing. Now I have very little going on, though. Fatal Push is here. I need a Brainstorm. That'll fix all my problems. Hierarch. Obviously, forcing and then drawing the Fatal Push immediately is just the nightmare scenario. I'm going to Entomb in the end step. I think I just put a Metamorphosis Fanatic in the graveyard, because I would like to draw Troll. I could Entomb a Harbinger of the Seas. What would I most like to reanimate from the cards in my deck that are not Archon of Cruelty? Could put a Frog there, but I kind of want to draw Frog. They have their Basic Forest in play. Yeah, I'll just put a Fanatic in there. Heyo. Brainstorm. Tilt. Well, put back Archon, and I guess I put the Fanatic in there. Yeah, this didn't quite do what I needed it to. I could put Archon back, put Troll back, draw Troll. I think I'm going to put back Archon and Fanatic, and then I'll just cycle Troll in my upkeep. I could Entomb in the upkeep. That makes sure I don't... No, I want the mana from Troll. I want 2 mana. I have to Troll first. Springheart and Tuco onto the Dryad Arbor. That makes a lot of bugs. Wooded Foothills is not the fetch land in their hand that I knew about. That's good info to have. And they can make another Dryad Arbor here. Just Dryad Arbor flooded. Yeah, that's a powerful interaction. No doubt about it. Swamp Cycle the Troll. Get Underground Sea. Draw Ponder. I think I want to just Fatal Push this Dryad Arbor before they go infinite. Or I could just let them do that, because the trick here is when you copy Dryad Arbor, that's a land drop, which triggers landfall again, which means they play this fetch land. They spend 2 mana, they get another Dryad Arbor, which triggers the Dryad Arbor. Then they spend 2 mana to get another Dryad Arbor, which triggers the Dryad Arbor. Then they spend 2 mana Yeah, I don't think I want to deal with all that. I'm going to push this Dryad Arbor. Lair of the Hydra was a good draw. I'm glad they're not making 5 additional lands this turn. So I am still way behind. Upkeep, Entomb, dump the Archon. Oh, baby. Is this good enough? I think I'm short. No, I go back up to 4. They lose 1 creature. Then they have 1, 2, 3, 4. And the lair kills me? Or I block the lair. Yeah. Oh, wait. I can bring it back with lifelink. LOL. JK. That is interesting. I bring back the Archon for less than 8 life, and it comes back with lifelink. Okay. Metamorphosis Fanatic might be super fucked. Just putting that out there. Hydra Wasteland. That's cool. Lair of the Hydra? I don't think so. Well, folks, that was cool. They would have to natural order me here, I think. Springheart and Antuco is not it. And they're done. Yeah, okay. The Metamorphosis Fanatic bridging the gap on life up from low resource reanimates. Yikes. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in round 2. Double Entomb makes a large number of draws in my deck really good. Reanimate, Animate Dead. Starting turn 3, I can Miracle the homie. Opponent's on 6. I'm going to play Underground Sea and pass. Basic Swamp in the end step. Cycling Troll. Okay, so this is a matchup that I probably can't just fire a monster into my graveyard with no plan for. Thoughtseize. My frog! Now they can decide if they want to reanimate their troll or my frog. Or just stay chillin'. I like stay chillin'. Ooh. I like that card too. Okay, I'm gonna brainstorm. This mixes things up. They just got a bunch of information and now I'm changing it all. Thoughtseize and another Entomb. I don't think the third Entomb is what I want to be doing in life. And I'll shuffle away the basic island. They could daze this, but if they have Entomb reanimate daze, I have nothing that beats that anyway. Okay, they did have the daze and a brainstorm. They can't flip Fanatic here because they only have 1 land. And because of their Thoughtseize, I could flip Fanatic and get my frog back, and that's fine. Or I could just die right now. Yeah, like I said, if they have Entomb reanimate daze, we lose anyway. So the Thoughtseize getting countered doesn't even matter. They were going to do that. Wastelanding them instead of playing around daze last turn could have been something to do. They took Force Delta reanimate. Okay, can I come up with an Archon of Cruelty this turn? That is a Polluted Delta. Not what I'm looking for. Still have to play it out because Archon could get rowdy here. Knowing they have Force in hand is concerning. We don't know they have a blue card, but they do have 3 unknown cards in hand. They're taking my frog now. That gives me some confidence to Entomb with. Because now I don't know for sure that they have a reanimate to take my Archon. And I can shoot this high roll. Undercity Sewers. Ponder. That's more looks. Ponder. Oh, there's Animate Dead. Alright, don't shuffle. Play Wasteland. Play Animate Dead. Get Force of Will. Concede. Can't not do it, though. Cool. Alright, we're dead. Yeah, I mean, that felt like they just went first and had Thoughtseize. My hand was pretty awkward, too, though. Okay. In the mirror, I don't want to give them anything that would be good to reanimate. Hearse, push, Arrowgoyf. I could full juke here. I would like to board out my Force of Wills, but if they don't juke, my Force of Wills are good. Daze is good regardless. I have the Hearse in. This Macabre can come in. That's probably better than Force. Force just costs 2 cards all the time. And the thing I'd want to force is a Reanimate, and Macabre does that for 1 card if it's in my hand. And we're testing Fanatic as 4/4 lifelink with mild reanimation upside. I can shave some Entombs now, or all the Entombs actually. This is not the first time on this channel where it's been a while since I played this deck and just forget to cut the Entombs when I'm cutting everything else. All right, do I want Animates in or do I want 2 forces back? I don't really want to spend 2 cards on 1 card, but they do have some messed up stuff, and something like protecting a frog matters. Though Animate brings back the frogs from either side. I think I'd rather have a bunch of animation than Force of Will. Keep just one of these hands that you gotta keep. No, I'm not happy about it. Cycle this Troll. I'm gonna get C, not playing around Wasteland. You can't make me. I can deploy this Hearse, so I will. Force Fetching Ponder, okay. Yeah, they said no way. Got 2 cards out of it. But they still have their forces in. That could mean that they're still a combo deck, and I'm not. Or it could mean we are assessing the card Force of Will differently from each other. Cycle to Troll to get a C. There's the C. I will Daze a Frog here. And even if they fight over this Daze, I have Fatal Push. I have this covered in a variety of ways. Alright, I'm going for the Cheese Ball. I can deploy a Frog next turn. You got your basics. Ghost Vacuum. Slurp, slurp, slurp. Exile target card from a graveyard. You got it. And then for 6 mana, you can put a 1/1 copy of the creatures that are exiled here. Bringing back your Frog, that's fine. I'm going to cycle Troll. I'm going to get Underground Sea. I'm already exposed to Wasteland. Let's just lean in. I would rather kill their Frog than resolve my own here. There's a Troll in the Ghost Vacuum now. We'll see if this card ends up being good. This is another one from Duskmourn that we reviewed on Eternal Glory. Mostly think it's worse than Nile Spellbomb and Soul Guide Lantern, but we'll see if we get to the point of the game where they make a 1/1 Archon of Cruelty. Animate Dead, Reanimate Shoulder's Edict. Okay, I'll take the Shoulder's Edict. I'm going to cast Brainstorm now while I know it's good. Barrow, 5/6 Barrowgoyf. That is somewhat susceptible to Ghost Vacuum. I'm going to put back Barrowgoyf and Psychic Frog, and I'll make my land drop and pass. Now they sucked their own Frog out of their graveyard. This costs 6, by the way. 6 mana activate as a sorcery. That's a lot. They're reanimating my Troll. Exile this Troll and this Troll. Reanimate eats poo. I like the top cards in my deck. I'm going to draw them. Deploy this Frog. And this is the game that I have maneuvered to from all the decisions I made. Could have shoved turn 2 Frog, but instead I'm casting it on turn 6 after doing a bunch of stuff, and they just scooped to it. Cool. Okay, they have Ghost Vacuum as their hate. I have Unlicensed Hearse. They've seen Fairy Macabre now. They still had their Force of Wills in, and we saw a lot of Reanimator stuff. It's possible that now that they've seen what I'm doing, they're going to pivot their plan. But my plan was made already thinking that they would pivot, and I am fine with this circumstance. I am just going to hit submit. 2 Reanimates, 2 Ponders. I've kept this Ponder hand, a Wasteland, so they're doing troll stuff. You don't just lead on Wasteland. I'm still gonna cast Ponder here, off of Underground Sea. Could fetch a basic, who cares? There is a whole game plan rolled up right here. My next land's all under control and a Troll to reanimate. Ooh, they didn't cycle Troll. Was that a misclick, or what's going on here? Unlicensed Hearse. Well, I'll daze that. My plan is currently really bad against that card. Okay, so this is probably their only colored source then. If cycling Troll wasn't the game plan. Okay, basic Island Time. And cast Ponder. Troll, animate. That's too much of that. Shuffle it away. Oh no, it's still too much of that. Emperor of Bones. They're in the Bone Zone. Undercity Sewers. I think they just drew that. I suspect they would have played Undercity Sewers on turn 1 if that's what they were. If that land was available at the time. Okay. Bone Zone just eating my days. They milled over a Fairy Macabre. A Forg. Alright. I'm going to cast Psychic Frog. That resolved very quickly. I think they're F6'd. Yeah, they are. Doesn't mean they don't have a removal spell. It does mean they don't have a counter spell. Brainstorm. Basic Swamp. Barrogoyf. Okay. We're Goyf gaming. Hashtag Goyfgate. If this Bone Zone attacks, I'm obviously eating it. Yep, no chance. I drew a Ponder. I'll start with that. I'd like a removal spell for this Barrogoyf. Fanatic, Fatal Push, Bowmasters. Huh. This is a lot of interesting cards. I cannot get Revolt right now. I can have 2 of these cards right now. Okay, I'm going to put back Fanatic, Bowmaster, Push, and I'll play Underground Sea, which is probably not going to be in play next turn. I'm going to discard Troll of Khazad-dûm. I think that's better than cycling it here. Reanimate. I'm doing this all now. If they have like Fairy Macabre, I'm going to have to jump my Frog anyway. Okay, that can now trade with Barrogoyf. Also Fatal Push Emperor of Bones. They have not indicated they have a counterspell in a minute. Cool, we did it. And I'm going to jump the Frog. Can I make Barrogoyf smaller? They don't have a land. Land. They have Artifact, Creature, Instant. Land, Sorcery. Or Sorcery. That's probably better. Okay, so that's smaller now. Maybe I should have saved that as a combat trick, but I have to jump the Frog. All right, here's Bowmaster, and then I'm drawing Metamorphosis Fanatic next turn. Barrogoyf does have Death Touch, but I know my Troll will be back in my draw step. They shuffled their Ponder. Brainstorm. Got stuff going on. Yeah, the Wasteland can just put a land in the graveyard, so exiling the sorceries was right. They came up with one of their own, so whatever. Mostly Irrel. Ghost Vacuum, shit. That makes my life harder. I'm definitely going to block. Yeah, this giant lifelink creature that also draws cards. We could trade that off. And if they activate Ghost Vacuum in response to my Miracle trigger, I can discard Bowmaster to Frog and just get it back. They should wait for me to target if they're going to do this. It's a Miracle. Reveal it. Casting this thing. They did not vacuum. They know how their cards work. Good job, opponent. Okay, there goes that. I still have a 4/4 lifelink. They've not wastelanded me yet. I left up the Underground Sea, which I think I should have just left the Swamp up. I think I made a mistake. I'm now going to reanimate their Barrogoyf while the vacuum is tapped. Okay, they started pitching to Force. I saw their life total change, and then they changed their mind. They have Force of Will in their hand. It is a Moto trick that you can click on Force and your life total changes without a blue card in your hand, but more likely they decided to back off. And this is why I don't like Force of Will in matchups like this one. Just can't afford to get 2 for 1 ever. Every card's so important. Ponder. Not wastelanding me when they could have for literally the entire game. I wonder if they're actually trying to activate Ghost Vacuum, or if they have some other kind of 5-drop that's important. Hey, I'm ahead on the Frog game here. My creatures are bigger than Frog, and I have more cards in hand. Just rolled up for this environment. And I will smash with the team. They're all coming in. Every single one. I'm not jumping my Frog, not doing anything here. Just hit you. I'll draw a card first, and then I'll Barrogoyf. Do I want a Barrogoyf? They've got Ghost Vacuum going. Reanimate's not going to work. I guess just finding a creature is good. Yes. Get back. Brazen Borrower or Psychic Frog? Yeah, Borrower is a removal spell. I'll get that one back. And I could Brainstorm here. I could just bounce their Frog. They've got 1 card in hand that we're pretty sure is Force of Will. All right, I'm going to Brainstorm. I have some Reanimates that are not going to be useful. There's Thoughtseize. No land. Okay, Reanimate and Animate Dead can take a walk. Cycle Troll. Underground Sea. And I'm just going to bounce this Frog right now. Not letting you back in the game. Exiled Psychic Frog with Ghost Vacuum. Kraken a Fetch. Undercity Sewer. Dump to Daze. And go. You look pretty dead, opponent. Land number 6. They could put a 1/1 Psychic Frog and Troll of Khazad-dûm into play. What a payoff. Okay, here they are. 1/1 Flying Troll, 1/1 Flying Frog. Basically, completely irrelevant. I'm not making fun of my opponent. I'm making fun of Ghost Vacuum, just for the record. If I thought seize them, we'll see Force Frog, and they'll probably just discard both in response. Discarded Force, there it goes. Discard Frog, there that goes. Thoughtseize, I lose 2 and see an empty hand. I think I'll manage. Orcish Bowmaster, kill Troll of Khazad-dûm. I wonder if I'm just supposed to let them force a Bowmaster. Just play Bowmaster, and if they force it, then I Bowmaster the Frog instead of the Troll, which I actually care about. Okay. Game 1, they just kind of steamrolled me. They were better set up, and they were on the play. And I think my sideboard plan was better than theirs. These Force of Wills looked pretty bad throughout. We had the same graveyard hate going. I don't play Ghost Vacuum. They did. The card was not very good. It was good at being unlicensed Hearse, but the big payoff, like they didn't wasteland me this whole game because they were trying to get to 6 mana. There were turns where the 3rd mana mattered. And in the end, the big payoff was concede immediately. I'm not sold on Ghost Vacuum, but going back and forth, really cool. Metamorphosis Fanatic, once again, 4/4 lifelink mode, being really relevant. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the draw in game number 3, and I'm going to keep this Force Blue card, Frog Troll, situation, a Yavimaya, a Mox Diamond. Ooh, are we playing against lands? Actual Landos? Misty Rainforest? Up the Beanstalk. I think this is worth a Force. It's just everything gets worse with that card in play for the rest of time. This might even be one of those bullshit Submerge decks. I'm going to Thoughtseize them. The Yavimaya turns all my lands into forests, which means when they play an island, Submerge is free, even if I don't play forest. Yeah, bullshit Submerge deck confirmed. Okay. This is kind of a meme deck, but it is powerful if the thing gets online. Really glad I forced that now. There's Misty. Animate Dead. I like that. This might be a Loam Wasteland deck. I don't actually know. Mox Diamond without Loam in your deck is kind of wonky, but the ship has sailed on playing around Wasteland, and I've seen their hand recently. Animate Dead, bad against Boseiju, unfortunately. Wasteland, good against me talking about how I'm not going to play around Wasteland, unfortunately. Reanimate, that one is good against Boseiju instead of bad, which is just better. Frog has connected, Boseiju and one unknown in the grip. Daze, probably not finding a lot of purchase here. Swamp Cycle Troll. I'm just going to keep getting Underground Seas. You can't stop me. I'm going to play Wasteland. I'm going to play Reanimate. I'm playing Wasteland because if this is like the Beanstalk Submerge deck tucked into a Merit Lage shell, that's something I want to prepare for. I could also just waste their Yavimaya and make Submerge a bad draw. The Boseiju is in play now. That's representing Hardcast Force. But I can daze that. I can also waste them off that. I can also Thoughtseize them and see what they're actually working with. Hardcast Submerge. It's live. I am about to be at 8 from my own spells. Gotta be a little respectful here. Yeah. Force of Will, look at that. Also, backup Yavimaya. Glad I didn't wasteland that shit. Attack with my stuff. Okay, 6, 7 is 3 turns. 8 is also 3 turns. 9 is also 3 turns. I'd have to discard my whole hand to make the clock faster right now. Kind of like my hand. I don't like that Animate Dead, though. Let's probably turn it into something else. Ooh. The big Fanatic. Okay, I'm going to put back Animate Dead and Can't imagine Fatal Push is good here. I was supposed to put back Fanatic. I'm such a dummy. All right. My plan was to flip the Fanatic and Entomb in response, and then my brain just defaulted into normal magic instead of bullshit magic. That was a brief moment of insanity. I'm still going to Entomb Archon, though. Elvish Reclaimer. Oh, wait. Fatal Push is on top of my deck. I'm not entombing shit. Let's go. Played around it. Completely on purpose and everything. Fatal Push that. Animate Dead's on top of my deck, which means I can Archon this turn. Okay. A bit of a disaster on the last turn sequencing that Brainstorm, but luckily we were so far ahead it didn't matter. Okay, they are this Submerged Beanstalk depths adjacent thing. I think I want Fatal Push. I think I want a partial juke. I'm generally going to partial juke against most decks, I think. Everybody's going to have Graveyard Hate. Big Barrow. Or maybe this is a good Bowmaster matchup. Maybe that might be better than Barrowgoyf. I don't know if this matchup's about size, but it might be about shredding someone who has up the Beanstalk in play. Days on the draw kind of whack versus a Mox Diamond deck. I think Murktide Region is in this deck. Just trying to remember. It's been a while. This was the thing that people were working on when Up the Beanstalk was new, but I haven't seen it in a long time. Yeah, I think I'm going to get away from Days. I can have Hearse and at least one Barrowgoyf in. I could bring in Harbingers if they're a lands adjacent strategy. This might be relevant. Okay, I think Harbinger's better than Barrowgoyf. Partial juked here. I could cut some number of Entombs if I want Barrowgoyf. I'll go 1. Just a little smattering of everything here. Okay, turn 2 Troll with Force backup. Tropical Island. A Frog. Oh, okay. I could just Wasteland them. So I will. With the Troll and the land. Okay, Crop rotating in response. I'm going to pitch Ponder to fight over this. I committed to them having no resources. Crop rotation, probably should have been aware of that, but whoops. Caracas. Okay, I don't have any legends in my deck. They're all in the sideboard right now. I am going to pass, and I'm going to fetch Basic Island, and then cycle Troll to get Basic Swamp. I'm actually going to fetch now. I don't think this is going to be a Stifle deck, but I can play around it. Cycling Lorien revealed. Tropical Island back for more. Do they have the Beanstalk? They have Elvish Reclaimer. Okay. I can put a Troll, or I can threaten a Troll before this Reclaimer turns on, which is just in time. Basic Swamp. Reanimate this thing. It's in play. That's cool. Didn't necessarily expect that to work. I was pretty sure they didn't have a counterspell because they beat their crop rotation, but they could have had a Surgical or Macabre or Endurance or something. Bounce spells are good here. Yavimaya Submerge is good here. I'm going to cycle this other Troll in the end step. I am going to want mana. And I'm going to get a C. I know the Sewers is there, but I have 3 mana worth of stuff I could do this turn. Underground Sea, attack. And I'm just going to cast this Frog. Brainstorm in response, go nuts. Force pitching Force. Okay. Yep, that's handled. If they crack their fetch line in the end step, I'll Fatal Push in response. This way, they don't have 2 mana up to rotate, which means their toolbox is off, and if they have something like Sujiri Step that would have saved the Reclaimer, there was no window to use it. Versus Saga. I wasn't ready for that, I'm not going to lie. Another Reclaimer. Opponent is dead on my next turn to the Troll. If I can keep the pressure up here, and I can reanimate a Troll and deploy Bowmaster this turn into their 1 card that they have. Force, not a super important card for me to have right now. Would be good with a blue card, but I don't have one. Therefore, it's bad. Okay, what's going on here? Crop rotating. If they grab like Mazavith here, that buys them 1 turn. Okay. Troll is sleepy. I'll reanimate the other Troll. Right now, while the shields are down. I'm at 6. Race is on. Let's go. It would be sick if they just rip a Brainstorm and cast it. Then I get to light up their Elvish Reclaimer. Okay, I'm not going to cast Bowmaster now. If they think Saga can kill me on the backswing, they might behave differently this turn. They have to Maze of it, so they're going to leave me at least 1 blocker here. I'm going to play out Pluto Delta because that represents the Undercity Sewers and it lets me hardcast Force next turn, which might matter. I think Bowmaster right now killing the Construct is a good use of my energy. That's going to make it really hard for them to get 3 creatures. If they do something like tutor up another Maze of Ith here, the Reclaimer land would come in tapped. I don't care about Tabernacle. If they make Merit Lage, I have that beat as well. If they have a Glacial Chasm to actually just freeze me out for a couple turns to find a way out of this, that's something, but they're on pretty low resources even then, and low life. They can't keep the Chasm very long. Uh-oh, they got Yavimaya. Submerge is online. They tutored Mox Diamond. 1 card left in their hand. Okay, this is a little awkward because when I fetch, if they submerge, my Troll's gone forever, but Troll is not castable anyway, so yeah, I'm just going to fetch. They still go to 4, and they're Hellbent if they have submerge right now. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. Undercity Sewers. Let's find a Wasteland and just end it. Brainstorm. That's 3 looks at Wasteland. Could also just hold up Force Blue card, but I'm not actually winning because they hold up the 3/4. The Bowmaster can't get in. All right, easy game. Okay. They made that kind of fun at the end, but they were just under life-threatening pressure at every moment. Cool. On to the next round.
We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league.
I am on the play in round 4. I will keep my hand. Island Ponder, also Entomb Daze. I think I'm going to Ponder first. Just make sure my lands are set up. Yeah, Underground Sea Psychic Frog. I like those cards. Don't shuffle, pass. A mountain. Okay. Vexing Bauble. I could daze this, or I could just ignore daze for the rest of the game. Alright, yeah, this is probably Painter. Yeah, I'm just not going to daze anything. I could discard it to Psychic Frog. It still has value. Here's a Psychic Frog. Wasteland's on top of my deck if they follow up with Urza Saga. If they just Pyroblast this, at least they're behind. Urza Saga? My goodness. Please just cast a Goblin Engineer or some shit. Oh, yeah. Painter Servant, Fatal Push that, Wasteland the Urza Saga, off we go. If they go Spirit Guide, Red Blast here, then I don't have Frog, but everything else still works. All right. Wasteland, the Urza Saga, Fatal Push, the Painter Servant, all their shit's in the graveyard, attack you. I have Brainstorm, so I'm not going to discard the Daze for damage just yet. And I will pass the turn with Entomb up. And now I know they're not a Reanimate deck, so I can just chuck an Archon in there in case I happen to flip a Fanatic. Goblin Engineer has hit the stack. Next turn I could hardcast a Daze. I would rather just flip a Maniac, a Fanatic. Dumped a Dragon Engine. Entomb in the end step. Archon in the bank. Big draws. There are a lot of big draws in the deck. Ponder might still be one of them. I could just attack first. They're not going to block here. I'm not going to jump the Frog. This gives me just more action. And if they block, I'll just discard the other Entomb. At this point, Daze actually works. Cool. Hitcha. Troll of Khazad-dûm. Ponder. Animate dead. I will animate this dead thing. I don't think there's anything they could do here. Yep. What a slaughter. Okay. Cool. Playing against Painter. I like kind of partial juking them. I hate Force of Will. They have so many red blasts. That's just not how I want to interact with them. Fatal Push, Consigned to Memory are cards that I like. Unlicensed Hearse has some text, but I don't like it enough. I'd rather kill their Welders than attack their graveyard. Daze also not great. They're an Ancient Tomb deck with Vexing Bauble. If Atrax is out, I get one more thing that's in here. Orcish Bowmaster can ping Goblin Welder, and it can make Fable a little awkward to use, but it's generally not very good. And I'd probably cut one Entomb if I only have the Archon in there to get with them. And maybe Bowmaster Hearse, not because I think they're great, but just because that's how my plan maps out here. Being completely forceless puts the shields down quite a bit to Blood Moon. Just got to think about that. There's no Dismember in the deck. I do have one of each basic. Yeah, I'll just prioritize fetching those if I'm worried about Blood Moon. Entomb, Animate Dead. Boop, bop. Let's try it. This deck does play Fairy Macabres. They didn't lead on Leyline. They do play cards like Soul Guide Lantern in the main, and now we're in the side, so that doesn't even matter. A 3-drop on turn 1. Magus of the Moon. Well, that's going to be hard to beat. If I draw a Troll, we could still play this game pretty easily. Okay. Well, I can have an Archon on turn 3 or a Troll on turn 2. We'll see how they roll things out here. Well, now I can't do any of that shit. I can still get my Swamp, but I am just feeding the beast by putting creatures in my graveyard. Basic Swamp is achieved. Another Entomb, hate that for me. Here's Basic Swamp, and I will pass the turn. Yeah, the follow-up Soul Cauldron was too much. We were actually just fine against Magus of the Moon as a singular magic card. I think I'm going to Entomb a fetch land, or just like some shit I don't want to draw. Or Entomb a Wasteland. Yeah, I'll just Entomb a Wasteland. Flipping a Metamorphosis Fanatic, just 4/4 lifelink here is reasonable. Or just draw big Barrogoyf. 3/4 creature. Glad I put 2 card types in my graveyard a moment ago. They can remove them with Soul Cauldron one at a time, but Barrogoyf is here. And it's big. Okay, they ate their Lotus Petal, correctly reading that I don't have many artifacts in my deck, though I do have an Entomb in my hand and an Unlicensed Hearse in my deck. Vexing Bauble, okay. I wasn't casting any free spells. I boarded them all out. I can't really attack here, because if Barrogoyf starts chugging, it could turn quickly. I can just cast... Or no, I do need a target. Never mind. I was about to say I could just fire Animate Dead into the void to get an enchantment in the graveyard, but that's not even true. If I attack with Barrogoyf and Entomb a card type that's not there, that would make 3 card types, and they can still beat me with Magus of the Moon. Okay. Oh, I have Death Touch. I should be attacked. Oh my god, I forgot I had Death Touch. That was so bad. Okay. A good player would have attacked there, but I am a fool. Yeah, that was just some free mills, some looks at another Barrogoyf. Whoops. There's so many words on this card. Okay. Let's try this again, but not be stupid. Hey! Or I could just flip this homie into play. I guess Barrogoyf is not going to get to attack this turn. Can I regrow my Wasteland? Nope, not allowed. I can certainly click on it, though. I will pass the turn, and now my opponent has to do something. Okay, so the floor assessment of Metamorphosis Fanatic of 4/4 lifelink is worse than Triumph, and we don't really play that card. Did not fully account for the context in which you're deploying this 4/4 lifelink, which is games like this, where that's just a good enough creature on its own. Okay, I'm going to attack here with both creatures. It's going to look suspicious. I'm going to Entomb a card type that's different, but not a creature. Entomb. I'll dump. And Magus is about to die, so Wasteland gets a lot better. Is it Thoughtseize? It might just be Blue to Delta. Yeah, I don't need to draw more lands this game. Unless they have more graveyard hate, this will have at least 1 power when Death Touch kicks in. Okay, they did have Macabre. So they do survive this interaction barely. That's fine. We made quite a game out of that. And I look like a genius by not attacking with the Barrogoyf earlier. I was just playing around Fairy Macabre. That was completely intentional. Magus of the Moon. And there is a creature in the graveyard. I'm going to Thoughtseize them. This doesn't really help anything, but knowing what the rest of their game looks like. That's a lot of Pyrogoyfs. Or no, it's 1 Pyrogoyf. It's 2 Pyroblast. Yeah, I'll take your Pyrogoyf, thanks. This does make Magus of the Moon 6/6 if they want it to be, but their hand is full of 1 card that they locked out themselves. I clicked away the Red Blast. Whoops. I can flip another Fanatic if I draw it. Goblin Engineer is pretty annoying. If they Entomb a Dragon Engine, though, I can Animate Dead that, and then they don't get it. It ends up under the Soul Cauldron, but at least they can't flip it in and out. Or I could die right now. Okay, well, I'm going to have to jump block. They have the full other combo here. I guess I could have read that with Soul Cauldron. There's some opportunity where Soul Cauldron is just a mode of graveyard hate, but clearly that's not true. Okay, so I should have attacked that one turn with Barrogoyf. Maybe they had Fairy Macabre for the blow-up, maybe they didn't. But turn 1 Magus, turn 2 Agatha Soul Cauldron collected enough bodies here. And I can't even draw the basic island to get out of this, because I know they have 2 Pyroblasts in their hand. I have to block there, or else they just Phyrexian Devour their deck. They did tap out of Soul Cauldron. Oh, wow. They did tap out of Soul Cauldron, which means I have 1 turn to reanimate, and drawing a creature that can be reanimated is a big deal here. Pyrogoyf's not good enough to change anything here. Get the Fanatic who gets back the Troll, which gets me another turn. It's not a solution to my problems, though. They have 2 lethal attackers here. I can at least block the Goblin Engineer with Troll, make them flip some cards. Not that that matters at all. Block, block. I just get to see some more cards out of their deck. Mountain, Engineer, Mountain, Arena. Arena's interesting. That's actually good to know. Fable. Now they can stop. Okay, I'm at 30. Is that more or less than the total mana value of the cards in my opponent's deck plus 12? I suspect it's not going to be enough. Okay, they got me. Okay, so they have that version of the deck in. On the play that game, I could have just fetched Basic Island and played that whole game just fine. I don't really want Force of Will in. Like, look at all these black cards I can just win the game with. Consign to Memory, powerful against Soul Cauldron. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do anything special for the Magus of the Moon, like bring in Forcer Days. I'm just gonna prioritize my basics and hope they don't turn 1 it again. Like, if they just turn 1 it, or if they turn 2 it, or if I'm on the play, or if they do what they did but don't follow up with a repeatable graveyard hate, I win that game. Cool. Okay, Entomb, Animate, and I have access to all my basics. I'm gonna keep this. We've seen Fairy Macabre, which means I might need to pump the brakes, which... Oh, I actually don't have to pump the brakes. If I just play Scalding Tarn, then if they do turn 1 Magus, I just fetch an island. And if they don't turn 1 Magus, I fetch an Underground Sea and fire the Entomb. I'll make you have it. They mulled to 5. And if they play Soul Cauldron, I'll just consign it. Okay, here we go. I'm going to fetch Underground Sea and cast Entomb. Put Archon of Cruelty directly into the graveyard. Just make you have Fairy Macabre and then cast Barrogoyf anyway. Island, Animate Dead. Okay. That was always possible. So that ended up being a 2-for-1. They basically got the Entomb and the Animate Dead for 1 card, but they mulled to 5 to have a Fairy Macabre, so we're just kind of caught up on resources there, plus I made him have it. Painter. I don't really like that, getting past my consign to memory. Barrogoyf get in. They can Pyroblast this as long as the Painter is in play. If they go Ancient Tomb, Grindstone, great job, you did it. Oh god. Red Blast, okay. At least it's not Grindstone. Fable. I can counter one of the chapters on this. I'll probably go chapter 3. And this would be a great turn to flip a Metamorphosis Fanatic or draw a Brainstorm to set up the one I already have. Entomb. Another Entomb. Undercity Sewers. What do we got? I don't need a Consign to Memory. I already have those. Okay, starting to fall behind. I got a lot of high roll draws in my deck. Oh, Consign doesn't even work because of Painter. I can counter triggered abilities, but not colorless spells. They're in for 3 damage. Do I even cast this Entomb? Does it do anything? I don't think so. Goblin Engineer. I think I have to counter this trigger. Cast with Replicate. Just playing around Red Blast. But this gets Grindstone, and then we just lose. I don't think Entomb does anything, but my deck has Brainstorm in it. Reanimate. Okay. Entomb does something now. Entomb, get a Fanatic. I don't like this hesitation. That makes me feel like they have Pyroblast, which is going to be really hard to beat here. Yeah, I'm going to dump a Fanatic and then reanimate it. Disappointing. Okay, and that... taking that line removes one of the best rips I could have. Now I'm way behind. Felt good starting off, and then just follow-up was good. Maybe I'm just supposed to pump the brakes. Because if I just don't send the Ancient Tomb into the Fairy Macabre, Then I have mana up to counter the Painter, and then these Red Blasts don't do anything. And the Red Blasts have been really good. Yeah, I probably just got too excited. Dragon Engine from hand. It's a lot of damage. Basically dead if I don't flip right now. Yeah, that's not the flip. All right, so 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, dead. All right, GG. Yeah, I think if I just slowed down and I was like, haha, Multa 5, I'm going to get you so good. But what I should have done is, okay, Multa 5, how do I make sure they don't cheese me out? Yeah, I just played that poorly. On to the next round. On the draw for the final round, we got a troll situation. I will keep this. I think I'm just going to play sewers and pass. I like days for next turn. When I cycle and reanimate troll, I'll have days to back it up. And then I can use this brainstorm down the road to set up the Fanatic. Uh-oh, Chrome Mox. We might not get a turn to get to this days. What kind of Chrome Mox deck are you? A red one. Okay, Chalice of the Void's kind of annoying here. Blood Moon, I can navigate. The One Ring would be difficult. If they get the initiative, that would be difficult. Vexing Bauble, that means I'm cycling Troll in the upkeep. And Boomby Zooms. Okay. Alright, I'm going to cycle the Troll in the upkeep, so I don't draw this daze that I can't cast. Swamp cycle the Troll, get the basic, draw for turn. Entomb. Okay, Entomb Reanimate now being live changes what I'm interested in. I'm actually just going to wasteland them here. They got 1 card in hand, 2 mana to work with. I'll be at 16 when I go to reanimate my Archon. They still have 4 mana. Okay, I don't care about Vexing Bauble. They would have to sack a Vexing Bauble, hit Chalice of the Void here. That's the only sequence I care about. Or else they just lose the Bombardiers and the card in hand next turn. They'd have to be main decking Fairy Macabre or something. Entomb in my upkeep so I don't accidentally draw the Archon. Bring you back. And are we done? They could sack Bauble to draw a different card if they like the one they had. They did not like the one they had because it was Chrome Mox. All right. Well, I'm at 11. They're Hellbent. I have an Archon of Cruelty in play. They did not sack Bauble in the end step, looking for a fresh one. And we're done. Yeah. Entomb Reanimate for Archon of Cruelty. What a combo. Okay. Barrogoyf. I like. They're going to have a bunch of Macabres and stuff. Barrogoyf and Psychic Frog are just bigger than the creatures their deck plays. Consigned to Memory. They do have One Ring. They have Chrome Mox. This isn't without targets, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's good. I'll put it in the pile for now to think about. Orcish Bowmaster does very little here. I don't have a lot of faith in Daze, but I also do want to back quite a bit off of the reanimation stuff. I do want to partial juke, because Archon is still Archon. I still have Thoughtseizes to check for Fairy Macabres. Maybe I go... Are they Vexing Bauble in high numbers? Yeah, Daze has problems with that. Yeah, I'm going to do this. Just half juke and bring in the Barrogoyfs that are bigger than everything they play. Opponent just told me in chat that unfortunately sideboarding is bugged for them. It told them the cards are not in their collection. Maybe they did not actually register a sideboard, or I don't know how that could happen. But okay, we are playing game 1 over again for them, but I have cards in my deck. This hand is bad against Chalice of the Void, but I think it's good versus creatures, or if they have a broadside start, and we know they don't have a sideboard, unless this is the Master Long Con. I wish I didn't juke. Maybe I'll juke back for game 3, knowing that they can't have Graveyard 8. I'm not going to do that. I'm just entertaining myself. I'm going to do what I think is correct for my viewers. They're on a Multa 5. Tap land pass is the start. Entomb Reanimate is a combination. I'm going to play Pluto Delta and pass. If they cast Chalice here, I'm still going to Entomb for Archon. I play the Fanatic. I play Animate Dead. Blood Moon doesn't stop me. Yeah, okay. Basic lands are busted. Okay, whatever they do here has to beat Archon of Cruelty, because that's what I've got. This 3-card hand with no sideboarding. And that's why I only partial juke, because having some number of this around is still really good. We're in there. Drew Consigned to Memory, they discarded Pyrogoyf. And my hand is mostly blank here, but they are dead in 2 hits. if they have a main deck dead gone, or if they can get the One Ring into play and buy a turn of protection, maybe there's a game here. It does not seem like this is going to be competitive, though, and it might be partially because of an error, whether it's user error or platform error. We'll never know. Okay, and yeah, they can't come back from that. That is a 4-1 record, and I may have just gotten a little excited and thrown away my chance at the 5-0 in that Game 3 versus Painter where they mauled to 5. We did play against a full league of decks that did not have white exile-based removal, which made Metamorphosis Fanatic insane at all points. Graveyard Hate was still good, but the 4-4 lifelink, just Triumph of St. Catherine mode, came up important multiple times. Yeah, I think this card's good. I don't know if anyone's still waiting for my approval. I don't think this is busted. And when this was previewed, Legacy social media was like, oh, good, another card that's going to get banned, or this is going to get something banned, or it's ban, this or that. I don't think that's true, but it does kind of step into part of what Grief was doing, which is it is a fine creature even in the fail case. The upside of Grief, obviously, is you shred your opponent's hand to shit before they get to take a game action, which Metamorphosis Fanatic does not do. The earliest this thing can do anything is turn 3, barring any sort of acceleration or whatever. So that's different, but it's good with Reanimate, and it's good without Reanimate. If the game gets weird, modality is similar to Grief in that regard. So yeah, super impressed by this card. If you're going to be playing Legacy, be aware of this. Get your copies. Eternal Weekend's coming. This remains the #1 deck in the format. I picked it up, played honestly like pretty poorly in a number of spots, and still narrowly missed a trophy. If you actually do the work and dial this in and remember stuff like her wife has Death Touch, just, flavor text, whatever, that kind of stuff, you will be rewarded with wins, and some of them are quite easy. This has been Dimir Reanimator. Metamorphosis Fanatic, real good. Dimir Reanimator, real good. Psychic Frog, real good. Deck's real good. Hope you're all ready for it come Eternal Weekend. Everyone, thanks for watching. John, thanks for sending this in. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.